Imagine this. The air inside an emergency room late at night. It's got that, sharp disinfectant smell mixed with the low, constant hum of machines. Everything's bathed in that harsh fluorescent light. Medical staff are moving fast, their voices low, urgent, focused. Then through the doors comes a stretcher. On it, a young girl, maybe 17, Yasmine. She's just incredibly still. The team just swarms around her. They're pros, they know the drills, trying desperately to find any spark of life. But you can see it dawning on them in their eyes, that awful dread settling in. Yasmine, she's been gone for hours.
Oh, God.
And then this sound rips through the quiet, just this raw, animal wail of grief. It's her father, Ahmed. He brought her in. He just collapses, and he's crying out over and over, "I lost my daughter with my own hands."
Wow.
And while they're dealing with this horror, they see it. The marks on Yasmine's body. Clear signs of torture.
It's immediately obvious this wasn't any accident, it's foul play. So they alert the authorities right away. Okay, let's try to unpack this. What you've just heard sets the stage for a really tragic story. July 28th, 2025. Yasmine's death just throws her whole community into this storm of suspicion, rumors, conflicting stories. So today, we're doing a deep dive into Yasmine's life and her death. We're going to look at those first reports, peel back all the layers of testimony, and try to understand how what seemed like a family argument, got twisted by outside words and exploded into this irreversible tragedy. It really makes you think about trust and listening and the power words can have.
Yeah, what's really striking right from the start is how fast those first ideas can become the story, even when the facts aren't all there. So our mission today is to cut through all the noise. We'll explore how different people saw things so differently, sometimes, based on what they already thought about the family or the situation. And we'll really focus on how one misunderstanding, deliberately it seems, fanned into flames by someone else, could just have these absolutely devastating results, changing lives forever. So stick with us as we piece together what really happened, try to find some clarity in all this loss.
So the first statement Ahmed gave the police, he was obviously distraught, but the story itself sounded almost simple. He talked about a, quote, simple argument with Yasmine, a minor disagreement. His version was he hit her with his hand. Then he went to pray Isha, the evening prayer, came back, found her unresponsive. He thought she'd just fainted, so he panicked and rushed her to the hospital.
But the immediate problem was that just didn't fit.
Not at all. The injuries the medical team saw. Severe bleeding, circulatory collapse. That's not from a single slap. Or someone fainting?
No, it pointed to something far, far more brutal, a serious assault.
So the police start asking questions in the neighborhood. And this is where it gets really messy really fast.
Yeah, it's like they hit this wall of contradictions straight away. The community was just completely split.
Yeah.
He had some neighbors saying Ahmed was, a decent guy, a responsible father, worked hard at this scrap metal place. They said, sure, he could be irritable, argue with other adults sometimes, but they'd never heard him fighting with his kids. For them, him hurting Yasmine, unthinkable.
But then, literally, other neighbors painted this entirely different picture, a much darker one. They described Ahmed as, well, an addict, someone who regularly beat his children. One woman was very specific, said she heard him yelling at Yasmine, hitting her that very day.
Wow.
She even claimed his wife, Yasmine's mother, had left years ago because of his abuse and addiction, and that Yasmine, being the oldest, had to basically raise her younger siblings, even support them financially.
That's a huge burden for a teenager.
Exactly. And on top of all that, this rumor started spreading like wildfire. The rumor was that Yasmine was being forced into an engagement she didn't want, that she wanted to stay in school, finish her education. And her refusal to marry was supposedly what led to the fatal beating.
It's really something, isn't it, how these two completely opposing narratives just took root immediately.
Yes.
One of the loving father, the other the violent addict. It kind of shows how people might latch onto a story that fits what they already believe, maybe, or what seems plausible in their view of the world.
Yeah.
And these really strong, conflicting opinions just created this huge divide right from the beginning, made finding the actual truth incredibly difficult.
Okay, but then the story takes a major turn. The fog starts to lift a bit. And it's thanks to one crucial person, Yasmine's younger sister, Nada. Amidst all these rumors and accusations, Nada comes forward. And her testimony isn't just another story. It starts to build a coherent picture, and it directly challenges a lot of those initial, really shocking claims.
Okay, so what did she say?
Well, she described her father, Ahmed, completely differently. Not as an abuser, not as an addict, but as supportive, loving. Their only refuge, she called him, especially after her parents divorced 5 years before. And she made a point of saying the divorce was amicable, mutual, not him being abusive. She flat out denied any addiction problems or ongoing fights in the house.
That directly contradicts those other neighbors.
Directly. And maybe most importantly, Nada clarified the engagement situation. She said Yasmine truly loved her fiancé. She willingly accepted the proposal, that whole forced marriage rumor. Completely untrue, according to Nada.
So that just blows a hole in that major theory, doesn't it? If the family situation wasn't abusive, if she wasn't being forced into marriage, then what on earth happened? What led to this?
Exactly. And Nada's testimony continues. She revealed something that seemed minor at the time, months earlier, but turned out to be, well, fatefully important.
Okay.
So before Yasmine got engaged, her close friend's uncle had actually proposed marriage to her. Yasmine politely turned him down. It was maybe a bit awkward, but, it passed. She and the friend stayed close.
Right. Seems simple enough.
Then, the day Yasmine died, she and this same friend went to the market together. The friend needed to borrow 100 EGP, just a small amount. Later that day, Yasmine went with her friend back to her friend's house, just to collect the money she'd lent her, being helpful, trusting her friend.
Makes sense.
And then, as Yasmine was leaving her friend's street, her fiancé saw her.
Ah, and he knew about the uncle.
He knew the uncle, the one who'd proposed earlier, lived there or was connected to that house. Yes. So seeing Yasmine on that specific street, it sets off alarm bells for him. But instead of just talking to Yasmine, asking her what was going on.
Which would have cleared it all up, presumably.
Presumably.
Yeah.
He made the statement later, saying he prefers to speak to man, not women. So he didn't talk to her. He went straight to Ahmed, Yasmine's father.
Oh, boy.
And the way he presented it, his words, as Ahmed himself later described it, were meant to and did heat him up.
Yeah.
He basically implied Yasmine was somewhere she shouldn't be, doing something inappropriate by being near that particular house.
Yeah.
Planting the seed of doubt, the suspicion, disguised as concern.
Wow. So he used that prior proposal, that connection to the uncle, to twist the situation. It's a classic, awful example of triangulation, isn't it? Inserting himself between father and daughter with information designed to inflame.
Absolutely. Ahmed comes home, and he's not just angry, he's enraged, completely consumed by what the fiancé told him. He confronts Yasmine immediately. And Nada said, yes, Yasmine calmly, clearly explained everything. I just went to get the money I lent my friend.
But he wasn't listening.
No. His anger, fueled entirely by the fiancé's biased, incendiary account, just took over. Nada called it a devil's hour. Just this moment of complete, uncontrollable rage, he started hitting her repeatedly, and then just left her there, on the floor.
And the most heartbreaking part, she was still alive then.
Yes. According to Nada, Yasmine was still conscious when he walked away to go pray Isha. He seemed to think she was just stunned, maybe knocked out.
He left her there.
He left her there, went to pray. When he came back, started calling her name. She didn't respond. Nada described his reaction then. Total shock, despair. He started hitting his own head against the wall, just utterly unable to process what he'd done in that fit of fury. The irreversible reality.
God, the sequence is just horrifying. The misunderstanding, the fiancé's intervention, the explosion of rage.
And the investigation kept digging, pushing Ahmed on the inconsistencies. His story just didn't hold up against the evidence. Finally, under more questioning, he broke. He confessed the truth. And it shattered that initial story of a simple hand strike.
What did he say? What was the weapon?
It wasn't his hand. He admitted he used a heavy gas hose, a cordon bleu de gaz, a thick, heavy hose. He said he used it to discipline her. That was his word, for going to that house without asking him first. But he kept coming back to it again and again. His daughter's fiancé's words had provoked him. They heated him up. He really insisted the fiancé's account was the snark, the thing that pushed him over the edge.
The weight of regret in his confession must have been immense.
Overwhelmingly so, by all accounts. He kept saying he never, ever meant to hurt her, emphasizing how much he loved her. He expressed this agonizing wish for Yasmine to somehow forgive him, and in his despair, he apparently said he wished he could be executed immediately, just completely unable to live with what he'd done.
It sounds less like calculated malice and more like a catastrophic failure of emotional control ignited by someone else's words, leading to this outcome he just couldn't fathom or accept.
Exactly. And as things stand now, Ahmed is detained, pending the full investigation, and likely referral to court. It's just a total wreck of a family, stemming from that cascade of bad information and uncontrollable anger.
Yeah.
So what do we take away from this? What does this awful story mean for us listening now? I think Yasmine's story is just such a stark, really painful reminder of how powerful words can be,
Mm.
for good and for destruction. It shows how easily an unverified story, especially one that plays on fears or biases, can just bypass truth and lead straight to tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
This young woman's life was just extinguished, not out of some long-planned evil, it seems, but from this fatal mix. Unchecked rage, a terrible misunderstanding, and yes, that deliberate external push from the fiancé. It really makes you think about how narratives catch on, even with conflicting facts swirling around, how quickly people pick sides based on incomplete pictures.
And if we zoom out, look at the bigger picture here. Yasmine's story really hammers home how vital trust is, especially with the people closest to you. And the real danger in letting someone else's narrative, someone else's interpretation, dictate your reaction before reacting, especially in anger, based on what someone else tells you about a loved one, we have to pause. We have to seek the truth directly, ask the questions ourselves, and maybe most importantly, we have to trust the people we love enough to actually believe their explanation, to give them that chance, that benefit of the doubt that Yasmine tragically never got.
Yeah.
Because the cost of not doing that, as we see here so painfully, it's immeasurable, it's irreversible. So maybe the thing to consider is think about the weight your own words carry. And think about the trust you place in the words of others, especially when those words stir up anger or suspicion. In those moments of doubt, who do you choose to believe first? And what might be the real consequences of that choice?